KCBD. This is News Channel 11 at 10.
Good evening and thank you for joining us.
Tonight we are covering a controversial subject, immigration. This is a story that is happening to thousands of students across the country and here on the South Plains.
But today, in his first major speech on the issue, President Obama called for a major overhaul of the nation's immigration laws.
Fixing our broken immigration system is not only a political issue, not just an economic issue, but a moral imperative as well.
The president said people who enter the country illegally should register with authorities, learn English, and pay back taxes and a fine, and that employers who hire illegal workers should be held accountable.
And now to the story you don't typically see or hear. KCBD News Channel 11's Ann Wyatt Little sat down with a recent high school graduate who understands the risk of telling his story, but decided it was still worth sharing.
This is the greatest country. Pickles. Patriotism, that's why I love America.
He graduated number 5 in his class of nearly 300, an honor student recognized by the governor for his service, a church mentor, by many standards, a standout kid.
Grew up with their friends thinking, oh, we're the same, but really they weren't, but not knowing it.
Lewis breezed through school.
We used to have these little math competitions to see who can finish faster.
Rising to the top.
You know, and to me it was like, I realized that investing into my time, my effort, into my education really meant a lot.
It was on his quest to go to college that he learned the truth.
I was brought at the age of 3.
Lewis is not an American. He is an illegal immigrant from Mexico.
I really didn't know what undocumented meant. People ask me, well, what do you do about it? How do you know, haven't you applied for citizenship or whatever? But they don't understand that there's not a block for us students. You know, there's not a certain way we can get a visa.
But there may be a way for Lewis soon, and it's called the DREAM Act.
Of immigration reform.
Versions of the Development, Relief, and Education for Alien Minors Act have circled Congress for several years. Right now, the bills are in committees.
What I like about the DREAM Act, like I was telling you, is that it has certain guidelines that only the brightest kids will stay, only the best, only those that have proven themselves.
Some of the conditions: you must have entered the U.S. before your 16th birthday, spent 5 consecutive years in America, graduated from high school or earned a GED. Qualified applicants would have 6 years to complete their college degree or serve 2 years in the military.
There are thousands and thousands of children that have been brought to this country by their parents who were illegal immigrants, and they were brought in at the age of 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, at a time when they couldn't make decisions for themselves. And now they find themselves faced with difficulty with the fact that it's been impossible, in most cases, for them to get a pathway toward becoming an American citizen.
Seeing a need, attorney Robert Hogan recently expanded his Lubbock practice to include immigration law. He does not represent Lewis, but is familiar with teens like him. He says the DREAM Act would give kids who were brought illegally the chance to earn citizenship.
The alternative is to go home, and if the kids are deported, they may have been in this country since they were 2 years old, may not even speak the language. And it's cruel and harsh to deport these children who in their hearts and in their souls and their minds are Americans.
Immigration lines are years long, and Hogan adds there are conditions in the DREAM Act that would ensure students did not use it as a backdoor to get a visa. Good moral character is also a requirement. If you commit a crime while trying to receive legal permanent residence, you are automatically disqualified.
And if I commit something, you know, some criminal act, throw me back. I'll be glad to go back. Throw me back. You know, I don't deserve to be here. If I'm not going to act in a way that's helping the country, throw me back. You know, I don't mind that. That's justice.
Lewis is just one of an estimated 64,000 undocumented students who graduate each year from U.S. high schools, but were born somewhere else. He knows there are probably people listening, thinking,
go home, go back to Mexico. What do you say to them?
I would just like to ask them to put themselves in my shoes. You know, I think that some compassion has to go into this.
He's working on a script for a documentary on the DREAM Act that he hopes will simply raise awareness about the act and his dream.
I think that if people know like I said, that we just want the chance to just be here and be productive citizens, and we could prove them that, you know, we are.
Lewis was accepted to college. The 19-year-old wants to become a youth minister and an accountant. The issue of immigration is complex, and Congressman Randy Nagebauer says the laws need updating. But while sympathetic to Lewis's situation, he does not believe the DREAM Act is the answer.
Some folks would say, well, you know, these are just some kids that you know, they came in with their parents. But here's the problem: if you set a precedent there that you're going to reward parents to do that, what is then to stop the flow of parents that want to continue that process down the road?
Congressman Nagebauer wants reform to be consistent and reward people who take the legal pathway. It's not clear when, if at all, immigration reform will be voted on this session. Karen and Abner.
Thank you, Ann Wyatt.